Good afternoon, I'm Sheila Brummer with Siouxland Public Media News. Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen delivered his first State of the State address in the state capitol today, spelling out plans to drastically cut taxes while increasing funding to state schools. Pillen reiterated his plans announced earlier this month to increase K-12 public education funding by more than $2 billion over the next 6 years while cutting income and property taxes.
But what we do with the people's money this session is critical for my grandbabies and yours, and for generations to come. We all agree we are taxed way too much in Nebraska.
His proposed two-year budget would hold annual growth to just 1.3%, increasing spending by more than $164 million next fiscal year over the current year, and keeping the budget nearly flat the following fiscal year, with a proposed $500,000 increase. Nebraska's annual budget is about $4.5 billion. The public will get a chance to hear from the two finalists for Superintendent of the Sioux City Community School District today. A community forum at North High School will start for Interim Superintendent Dr. Rod Earlywine from 5:15 until 6:30 p.m. and Giovanni Ponce from 6:45 until 8. Dr. Ponce is the Assistant Superintendent of Schools for the Houston Independent School District in Texas. Dr. Earlywine previously served as a longtime administrator for Sergeant Bluff-Luton Community Schools. The school board will receive the community feedback and meet in closed session tomorrow afternoon to decide the finalists, which will be announced tomorrow afternoon. A bill advancing in the Iowa House would ask the state's three public universities to report to lawmakers with definitions for certain topics found in teaching training courses. Many of the terms on the list tie to accusations from conservative activists that colleges promote a liberal worldview. Among other things, the list mentions anti-racist and anti-oppressive teaching, equitable teaching practices, and diversity in education. Connie Ryan of Interfaith Alliance of Iowa asked why those and other terms are being targeted.
I don't understand why peace building is on the list. I don't understand why teaching with a humanizing orientation is on the list. I don't understand why equity of access to education is on the list.
Democratic leaders say the bill is a witch hunt. Republican Representative Skylar Wheeler of Hull denies that. He says taxpayers should know more about what teachers are taught at public universities. The bill now advances to the House Education Committee. Governor Kim Reynolds signed the school choice bill Tuesday, and it only specifies funding for public and private schools. But there is another type of schooling left out of the conversation: homeschooling. The executive director of Homeschool Iowa tells WHO Television in Des Moines an estimated 5% of families in the state participate in some form of homeschooling. That's a larger number than before the COVID-19 pandemic. Currently, there is little state funding for homeschooling. The organization has kept a neutral stance surrounding the Students First Act, since some parents want to keep a distant relationship with government. The state of Iowa is launching an advertising campaign targeting children, teens, and parents to educate them about the deadly dangers of counterfeit pills and fentanyl.
Our child will never get to grow up, but we want yours to be able to.
The state medical director says the twofold message is designed to reach children as young as 5 years old. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that's 50 times stronger than heroin, and officials say it only takes 2 milligrams of fentanyl to be deadly. A report from the Iowa Department of Health and Human Services found 205 people died in Iowa last year from opioid overdoses. And former Governor Terry Branstad is the new leader of the Des Moines-based foundation that awards the annual World Food Prize. Branstad says he doesn't want to do it long term, but for at least a year. Branstad, who served as U.S. ambassador to China, was governor when Des Moines-based businessman John Ruan donated the seed money for the World Food Prize. For Siouxland Public Media News, I'm Sheila Brummer.